Thank you. It's great to be here. Cindy and I have two sons, Ryan and Ethan. They're very different today, but when they were little, they weren't so different. They were inquisitive, creative, active, full of joy, full of love, just kids. Well, when Ryan and Ethan were 7 and 5, we started them on their allowance. Ryan got $2, Ethan $1. Of course, we assigned them chores, but we also said there are 3 things we want you to keep in mind. Part is to save, part is to spend, part is to give to people who need your help. Now, we made it very clear to them, we weren't saying a third, a third, a third. We were just saying these are the 3 things that we want you to keep in mind now that you have money of your own. Now, have you ever worked with children and charitable giving? It's quite a unique experience. So for us, it went something like this. No, honey, you can't give $25 to public television. It doesn't matter how much you like Sesame Street. That's half your year's allowance. So what Cindy and I did is we went into our own matching gift program. The kids would come running to us with $1 or $2 for a cause that they wanted to support. And then we'd send in a check because, of course, these were all causes that we wanted to support as well. Then we'd take their $1 or $2 and sneak it back into their piggy banks, hopefully to be recycled for another good cause. Later that year, Ryan, a precocious reader, saw in the newspaper they could become members of the Statue of Liberty Foundation. As soon as Ryan read that, he went running to Ethan. Ethan and Ryan then came running to Mom and Dad. Can we do this? Well, we loved the idea. So here we were back in our matching gift mode in a big way because we got a membership for each of them. I'm going to guess it was 60 days, maybe 90 days before their certificates came in the mail. Imagine their pride when they read, "On behalf of all those who decades past have forsaken their homes, their possessions, and their native land to seek freedom, your contribution is deeply appreciated." Oh my gosh, Dad, it's signed by the President of the United States. Well, with those stirring words and a signature from the President of the United States, Ryan and Ethan began to believe that Cindy and I would take them to see the Statue of Liberty not someday, but tomorrow. Well, months went by. We were out for a Sunday drive, just enjoying the scenic beauty around us. The car had been silent for some time, when out of that silence came Ethan's voice, in a whisper, as though he were just talking to himself. "Do you think they'll know me?" To the back seat, I said, "Ethan, are you talking to us or just talking to yourself?" Ethan continued, still in that wistful voice. "You know, when we go to see the Statue of Liberty, they'll say to me, 'Who are you?' And I'll say, 'You know me. I'm Ethan Popp. I helped save this.'" Well, I was touched. I was touched that a 5-year-old understood that no matter how small his part, at least he had done his part. Now let me fast forward 25 years. Ethan was married. After the wedding, Cindy and I received this note from him. "Dear Mom and Dad, thank you so much for the generous wedding gift and wonderful, heartfelt card. You'll be happy to know that old lessons stay. We'll be saving some, spending some, and giving some to people who need our help." Well, there I was, 25 years later, once again touched by Ethan's words and the memory of our Statue of Liberty story. I've never told this story without someone asking, "Well, did you ever take the boys to see the Statue of Liberty?" Well, of course we did. It was actually undergoing restoration at the time, so it was surrounded by scaffolding and nobody could go in, but we did see the Statue of Liberty. We toured the harbor by boat, and then in the evening we went up to a restaurant where we were looking right over the harbor. It was just absolutely spectacular. The Statue of Liberty just glistened like a jewel against the blackness of the water. And for years afterward, I thought, Wouldn't it be great to return someday to this restaurant with our sons, maybe even with grandchildren, to relive our Statue of Liberty story? But that wasn't to happen, because that restaurant occupied the top 2 floors of the North Tower of the World Trade Center. When we hear those words, we all get this twinge remembering the tragedy of that day. But I'm not here to remind us of the tragedy. I'm here to remind us of the good things that happened that day. How people on a plane over Pittsburgh helped each other. We have no idea how many lives they saved. They may have even saved our nation's capital. In the Twin Towers, people helped one another, not just first responders, but ordinary people who became extraordinary that day. On that tragic day, and in the days and weeks that followed, people all across this country did what Americans have always done. They helped each other in time of need. Even in a world torn by terrorism and a country torn by economic upheaval and political polarization, goodness and hope abound. Forests are saved from development, plants and animals saved from extinction. Buildings, art, and national icons are saved for the generations that follow. Communities are made stronger and more prosperous. Most importantly, people are saved. They are fed, educated, housed, provided medical treatment, recreation, cared for in their old age. Although survival is humankind's most basic instinct, joining together to help one another is not far behind. So I would like to say thank you. If you have ever served our country as a volunteer in the military or Peace Corps, thank you. If you've ever served your community as a volunteer firefighter, EMT, or a volunteer on a search and rescue mission, thank you. If you've ever been a volunteer for a nonprofit, a community organization, or a town committee, thank you. And if you've ever been a donor to a charitable cause, bought lemonade from a child when you weren't even thirsty, handed money to a homeless person, or simply helped someone when they were in need, thank you. Look around you. Look around this room, your office, wherever your friends, neighbors, or colleagues are gathered. And here's what I want you to think about. No matter how well you know the person next to you, you will never know the good they have done, are doing, or will do for others. And because of that, I suggest to you that 500 years from now, when people ask the question, how has America endured? Alongside the words democracy and capitalism will stand the words charity and volunteerism. But to endure, we must teach the generations that follow us to remember these 3 things. Part is to save, part is to spend, part is to give to people who need our help. Thank you.